So last week we talked about getting a proper hinge and internal rotation in the back hip, getting that load. Next thing that should happen after we get that good load is being able to get into an athletic position that allows us to rotate around the center of our body. So when we say that, another cue we use is rotating in a phone booth. So if you're in a phone booth, we can't sway too far one way or the other. A really good way to teach that is through medicine ball throws. So what we're going to do with someone that moves too much is simply have them pick up their front heel. So as they load, they're just going to let that front heel come up. And then as they start coming through and rotating, the front heel is going to come down and the hip should rotate around. Like again, if the pole's in the middle of your body, rotate around the pole rather than having us go forward or backwards a lot. This is something that baseball players should learn from golfers. Obviously, it's different because there's a ball in a fixed location on the ground for golfers. But overall, the idea of being able to get into that position every time and rotate around the center of your body and not sway is going to make you much more consistent at the plate. So for our guys, we just have them lift that front heel. After they lift, stomp the heel, pushing the heel down, stomping the heel should cue that hip rotation and should keep the head in the middle of the body as they rotate. One thing we make sure that we don't see is the head going forward. So we'll say a cue like make sure your head stays inside of your left foot, in this case for right-handed hitter. So when I rotate, I can see that my head's inside here. If I'm out here, I know that I'm wrong. And that way they can kind of self-organize and understand as soon as they finish the rep, whether they did it right or wrong. So again, we want to feel that load like we talked about last week, pick up that front heel, slam the heel down, and rotate to keep that rotation in the center of mass.
So as Barrett previously mentioned, it's important for us to be able to rotate around the middle of our body. Okay, so the middle of our body gives us an opportunity to use our athleticism and stay athletic through our swing. Just like a tennis player receiving a serve, they're going to hold their racket in the middle of their chest right in front of their body to make sure the center of mass is in the middle of their body so they can adjust from there. Just like a quarterback in the pocket, football's in the middle of their body so they can stay balanced and be able to adjust from there. So with the swing, we want to make sure when we get into our coil and land, we're landing in a position that's going to help us then start that rotation and allow us to really turn and use the ground when we're talking about rotating through the baseball. Okay, what we see with a lot of young hitters is that they'll get reachy with their front leg and a lot of weight will get stuck on their backside. If that happens, more cases than not, you're going to either swing open or your hips are going to slide forward and you're going to swing from there. All right, so it's important when we talk about getting into a proper launch position. So launch position is the position when your heel hits the ground after your load and you're going to start rotating and delivering your barrel, right? So in that position there is where we want to be in a balanced position. A good way you can use to exaggerate that position and those movements are yoga blocks. So I'm going to put these blocks about the distance where I land in that launch position. So for me, it'd be about right here. And I can do this off tee work. I can do this off front toss. And really what it is I'm in my launch position and I'm learning to rotate around the middle of my body and stay balanced. These yoga blocks are going to exaggerate any weight transfers from one side to the other. That's not going to allow you to move efficiently and actually work through the baseball.